If you've got weak, painful knees, it can make your lower back pain even worse and you get stuck in this horrible loop. But there is a way to fix both at the same time. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Michael Fatika, the lead osteopath and spine specialist at Back in Shape. And today we're going to be showing you 3 exercises that you can do from anywhere at home or in the gym that are going to help you fix the knee pain and the lower back pain at the same time. So let's get into number 1. For this first exercise, you can do it absolutely anywhere. You can do it on the bottom step of the staircase, you could do it outside on the curb, but I would suggest the first time you're trying this, do it somewhere where you can hold onto something like a wall or a banister if you are doing it on the top step. And all we're going to be doing is having our one foot close to the edge. I'll show you from the front first, using this is the working leg and this is the balanced leg or the non-functioning leg. And all we're going to do is slowly come down and back up, down and back up like so. Now the training points when we're doing this one from the side are first, we want to engage our body so our spine stays nice and strong for our lower back, our core is engaged, we're bending at the hips and the knees and the ankle, and all we do is stand very close to the edge with a little bit of support if you want, and then we're hinging at the hip like so to come down and back up again, down and back up again. And you're going to do 10 reps of this one just here. And all you're focusing on as you're coming down is that that knee remains nice and steady. So the knee is not moving inwards or outwards as we're doing this particular movement. And then from there, we're going to add 10 reps on one leg and 10 reps onto the other. And you can see this is a very, very easy exercise, or it can be. We'll cover later on how you can make this harder to suit your current levels of competence or strength. Exercise number 2, we're going to be doing this planted lunge variation. Again, it's a static planted lunge. So we're starting in the lunge position. So you want to go quite long here. And what we're going to be doing is simply holding our knee nice and steady. Again, the same training points as the last time, core nice and engaged, bending from the hips and knees and the ankles with some support the first time you're doing this if you want a little bit of extra confidence. And then we're simply lunging down and coming back up, lunging down and coming back up, lunging down and coming back up. And we should make sure that, again, as we're doing these, when the knee is bending, it is going in the same direction as the toes. We can't have any misalignment with the toes and the knees and this sort of occurrence happening, because it's going to create trouble. And one of the main reasons people have knee issues is because these things are happening on a daily basis when you're not quite aware of it. The final one is going to be the elevated split squat. And here we can do this with the sofa, we can do it with a dining table chair, whatever we're using to elevate that back leg. It doesn't really matter. Just grab something that's this high up to about here will do the job. And all we're going to do is we're going to start with a reasonable stance forwards and then simply elevate the back leg like so. We can always again have something for support to give us a little bit of confidence when we're doing this for the first time. And again, the same training points, core engaged, back muscles engaged, and slowly lower down and come back up, lower down and come back up, lower down and come back up. Again, focusing on the spine not moving and the knee staying nice and stable. So there you have the 3 main exercises, but we're going to make them a little bit better. And before we do that, we're going to cover a few things that you need to avoid so that you don't make your knee or back pain worse. The knee position. We have to make sure that when we're doing these exercises, our knees and our toes are perfectly aligned. People fall into problems when their knees are going towards the inside. And this is your classic going up a staircase or up a curb outside. It's because you don't have strength here that your knees keep wobbling in and you're just not aware of it. And that's often why the knee pain starts and makes everything worse. So make sure when you're doing these, you're only going as low as you can maintain that good knee and foot alignment going in the same direction. We must make sure at all costs we don't get caught out with our toes pointing one way and our knees going another. That is a recipe for disaster. The next one is your lower back. You have to make sure that your lower back is not arching or rounding when we're doing these exercises. And that's why one of the main cues that you must have whenever you start any of these exercises is to engage the core nicely and do a little chest pop. So all we do here is we simply do a nice core engagement, pop the chest out nicely, and that's the position that we hold this torso in as we're doing any one of these exercises to make sure that movement doesn't inappropriately translate into our lower back and create problems down there in the lower lumbar spine. And the last one, again, is related to the lower back, and that is this pelvic tilting left and right. And that means that as we go down into the lunge position, we fail to stabilize our trunk and our spine tilts to one side or the other. If you've got issues like disc bulges in the lower back or sciatica, this is a recipe for disaster. Again, it's likely to aggravate some of those little nerves that are coming out and aggravate the underlying problem. So we want to do our best when we're doing these exercises to hold the spine steady. Following on from this, there are three main reasons why these particular exercises are really great for anyone who's struggling with knee issues and lower back issues. And the very first reason is the accessibility. You can literally do all three of these exercises with the equipment and with the features of your own home. You've got a small step perhaps, or a curb outside your house. You've got a sofa or a dining table chair or something that you can elevate the leg on in the case of the split squat that we described. And the planted lunge position, you can do that absolutely anywhere, and you just need a wall or a counter to support yourself with. And again, with the supporting side of things, you can use a dining table chair or any other wall to support you on all three of these exercises. So absolutely everyone can do these, no matter how bad the lower back or the knee pain is. The second reason these are great exercises is because you have variations and you have regressions for each and every one of them. And what we mean by regressions is that you can take the exercise and you can make it easier for you. And if we demonstrate now, just behind me, what I'm talking about. So if we take the first exercise as an example, if this is too much for you, too challenging for you, you can hold onto a wall to give yourself a little bit more support. If that still is too challenging, you can literally do it on the floor with a tiny bend just through the knee like so, to really start to engage these muscles and make sure that you're able to do the exercise, because we should be doing them with next to no pain when we're doing these. So make sure that you can choose the right variation for you. If it's, for example, the planted lunge, you don't have to go all the way down. You could do a more shallow bend in the knee, and that's okay to start with. You just need to find the hardest variation you can do without pain. The last point is that we can do these at all levels. So we've just discussed making them easier, but you can actually make them a lot harder. And I'll show you for each of these exercises just how you can do that to allow your training to progress. The whole point of strengthening is that we are getting stronger over time. And while these exercises are extremely easy for anyone to do, you can also make them very, very difficult too. So let's start with the first exercise and just show you a simple way to make it more challenging. So the first thing we can do is get a higher step when we're doing this one. And then that allows us to go lower into the lunge position. We could get another step or a higher step still, or once more, we can add weight. So now we're holding onto a weight and doing the same exercise like so. This allows us to make it even more challenging. For exercise number 2, we can add weighted vests. And if you want to see a full video on how you can use these to rebuild strength in your lower back, then check out the link in the description. But this is simple. We can both improve the depth that we were doing on this movement and add weight. And that can be something like this, all the way down here, and then back up again to really challenge the knees, the muscles of the legs, and the lower back with weight over time. And of course, with the third exercise, we can use a weighted vest or a heavy kettlebell or both, and make the exercise even harder still as we build over time, making sure that we are challenging ourselves as the months and years go by. Ultimately, when it comes to back and knee health, the two are so closely related, and we see this over the years. Often it's a degradation in the health of your knees because we just don't use them properly anymore nowadays. That leads to your lower back having to do more. You're bending with your lower back instead of your knees because the legs aren't very strong. And actually reversing this process and doing the exercises like the ones we've discussed today. You can do 3 sets of 10, you can do 4 sets of 10, you can do 5 sets of 10. You can do them individually, you can do them as a circuit. You can build on them over time. It will allow you to strengthen up both your knees, your hips, your lower back as well, and your ankles, to make sure that you are making your body stronger. You're less vulnerable to re-aggravation, and ultimately that's what keeps injuries and pain at bay. If you've been struggling with your lower back pain, then you can always check out the full Fixing Back Pain Masterclass, link in the description. And if you want a little bit more help with these sorts of things, then you can always check out the Back in Shape program membership, again, link in the description. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you know someone else who's been struggling with their knees or lower back pain, consider sharing this video with them, and we'll see you in the next video.